This is that time a viewer gave me his first guitar. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. So today's episode, it's not necessarily a high-end guitar by any means, but it was a very thoughtful gift from a viewer of the show all the way back in the year 2020. That's right, the pandemic. In fact, if you go back 100 unboxing episodes, that's not an exaggeration by the way, it was number 94. You can watch me unbox this. But as the story goes, he liked to experiment on guitars by doing custom finishes. So this one kind of has like a rock/cave theme. However, when you flip it over to the back, it's also matching here, but it looks like he was toying around with a wood burning technique just to make the neck look a little bit more fancier than just the plain maple. Because as a base model, this is a Yamaha Pacifica. I've never actually had a stock version of one, but I have heard some good things, and they still make them today, ranging from like $200 brand new all the way to a couple of thousand. Now don't worry, this is definitely one of the cheaper import ones. But he actually sent me this without asking, because he had just purchased a Gibson Marauder from me. So that's how we had a return address. So he just sent it and waited for me to realize that somebody sent me something I didn't buy. Because otherwise I would have never accepted this gift, because your first guitar is special. That's why I always told him, if you ever want this thing back, just let me know. Because usually it's like when you turn about 25, you start to get sentimental about these things. But included with the guitar was this note. It basically says he's been watching the show for a few years now. His name is Jacob M. He was 17 at this time, and has watched my show all the way since I had 25,000 subscribers. And because of my channel and my passion for guitars, he got a love for them as well as building them. So we got a 70s Les Paul copy as well as the Marauder that we had just talked about. Kind of a funny story about that Marauder. I was selling that one in on consignment for one of my longest friends. All the way back from grade school, I was babysitting it while he was in the Navy, and then he decided to sell. But due to having those two, he felt he didn't need this Pacifica anymore. So he asked his aunt to help paint my logo on it. So if I understand the lore correctly, he did the underpaint work as far as the refinishing, but to get our little dragon here and the Trogly's guitar logo, he had a little help from family. So I know I just said I would have never accepted it, but you know, if it's personalized like that, I guess maybe. I just hate to see people get rid of their first guitars is all. So this is how it's sat for the past 4 years. I recently rediscovered this in my last collection video for the 2023 year as I was still unpacking from my move, and I thought, you know what, we need to do something with this one day. At least get strings on it and do a dedicated upload. And just recently, I had a small company reach out to me wanting to sponsor an episode. They go by the name Gunstreet. They sell wiring, pickups, as well as accessories such as knobs to put on it. They're located in Portland, Oregon, and currently they have 3 different pickups to choose from, like a 59 flavored humbucker set, a more modern style, but then there was a very interesting Burnside set that is actually a single coil within humbucker format. And then as far as their wiring harnesses, they have them pre-wired as well as solderless versions that you can use. So please check out Gunstreet. I'll have a link in the description. But rather than just plug that into an unboxing episode, I said, hey, how about you throw in a third humbucker, a new pickguard, and let's have some fun. And fun we're gonna have. Inspired by the Blacktop series of Fender, I decided to go for the Burnside humbuckers that are single coils with a triple pickup setup. So let's go ahead and put the Trogly's guitar over onto the workbench, modify it in the same vein as Jacob liked to, and have some fun today. And here's the new look of the Trogcaster. 3 humbuckers, no exposed pole pieces. This kind of has like a Gibson L6S vibe to it. But Gunstreet also included some knobs for me to choose from. I thought the white was going to look the best because it kind of pairs with our rocky finish over here. But a blacked out look is also available, but I think I'm just going to leave it white. It just adds a little bit more personality and character, like this thing needs it anymore. It's got it in spades. As far as the wiring diagram, here's what they sent me. So this and that is what I had to do outside of that. And they sent me a nice little note too. But just for fun, here's what the original looked like. Now the reason why I had to ask for a custom pickguard is A, I'm not going to route this one out because that's just not the skill set I have. And B, he did some routing to his guitar. You could see where the cavity just sticks out a hair right there. Here's a look at the backside of the pickups. Just seems to be cheapy ceramics, nothing too crazy. I'm not going to bother doing a tone sample on these because I think we know what to expect. But here's the backside of the new Burnside pickups. I don't know if TG stands for Trogly Bridge, Middle, and Neck, and he like specially wound that, or if that's how they all are. But they're looking pretty snazzy, and the wiring looks to have been done very well, except for mine right here. But he actually has his own branding of pots right there. I like how he has a shrink tubing over here to prevent it from grounding off on anything, and more tubing around each connection. That way, like if it's in shipping, it doesn't accidentally come apart. But the next issue I ran into during installation is the legs of the pickups. I only had cavities for the bridge, but not the neck and middle. So at first I was like, okay, what if I take my soldering iron and burn a hole in the guitar? Yeah, that didn't work too well. So plan B was just to cut the existing height adjustment screws short, and that did the trick. It's not like other modifications haven't happened in here. But uh-oh, that's scary. Bridge pickup is the number of the beast, neck pickup just a little bit under, and middle position the same. But these two play together at 3.34 and 3.35 with those. My favorite thing about this is, you know, SSS Stratocasters, very common. That's technically what this still is, it's just in disguise. But now let's get a good close-up of the paint job. Does it look homemade? Yes, of course. This was a learning piece. But what I really like is it actually feels like a rock. There is texture to it. It doesn't have a cold texture of a boulder, but it's nice that it's not completely flat, and then obviously you've got your dragon and stuff over top of that. It doesn't feel like it would easily wear away, so I don't have to be scared to let my kids play this one. I told you earlier, there's tons of Pacificas out here. What model is this? For that, we'd have to look at our serial number, which in this case is MM223249. I did a little bit of research on this and found these diagrams. So for Yamahas with this specific serial number style, the first one tells you what year it is. So M translates to a 6 at the end of the year. So it's either going to be a 1996 or a 2006. The next letter tells you the month within their date chart here. This one happens to be June. And then the next two tell you the day of that month. So my best educated guess is this is a 2006 Yamaha Pacifica PAC 112J model built on June 22nd. And it would have originally looked something similar to this. Not necessarily the natural finish, but hey, that's a beautiful way to see what should be the alder body on this one. But then we still have digits left. According to online, there's only supposed to be 3 more. This one has 4. I'm not sure if the production just ran really long on this or it's something that I don't know, but that's my best guess as to what this is. But now we can move on from our alder body to what looks like a standard rosewood fretboard. 2006, I believe that's before they really started to deviate into like Pal Ferro and other rosewood alternatives. And it's just your regular maple neck. But what I found quite shocking, this has real pearl inlays. I thought for sure a cheaper model like this would have pearloid, but no, in my opinion, that's true pearl. And it's got 22 frets. They seem to have some decent height to them. The fretboard radius seems closest to me at 14, and kind of a skinny nut width, 1.62, increasing to 2.04 at the 12, 0.82 first fret neck depth, and stays very skinny, 0.91 by the 12. Here's a look at that neck profile at the first fret and the 12th fret, just a nice rounded C shape. But in researching these Pacifica models, I noticed something interesting. I just figured, oh yeah, this one doesn't need a truss rod cover. But no, apparently they do. They screw into right there, just shallowly into the wood. But that has been removed on this guitar. But the maple has some really cool wood grain here, nice and circular. And then he did his whole wood burning technique here, which I think looks really good. It took a relatively cheap looking maple neck and gave it new life and removed all the Yamaha logos. The tuners really aren't anything fancy, but here's the thing. People always upgrade their tuners thinking, oh, that's going to be better tuning stability. If they turn and they hold tune and aren't slipping, you don't need to replace your tuners. It's your setup and your nut and the filing of your bridge that has the most impact on whether or not your guitar stays in tune. Now we can move on to the backside. My wire wasn't quite long enough. I think it'll still work attaching to this lug because I don't anticipate adding more springs or ever even using this trem system. In fact, I just blocked it off for this demo with some quarters. But our cool paint job continues back here and along the edges, but you can still see you've got a comfort cut, and this has a 4 screwed on design for our neck. But here's a good look at how the neck probably looked as it left the factory. And I'm starting to wonder, did he actually wood burn this, or is that just a dark brown color that he sprayed over it? Because this is a new glossy finish, so I think it might actually just be a faux wood burn design. They did a very nice job with the bursted pattern on the back of the headstock. And after stringing this back up, yeah, they're not the nicest tuners. They probably could function better with a nicer set, but I think it's gonna get us through this demo. But all said and done, it is just about heavy as a rock. 8 pounds, 11.1 ounces. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how the Burnside pickups sound in the Trogcaster. You tell me, what do you guys think? If I was just hearing this in a blind test, I would probably think they're single coils. I'm surprised just how those two blend together. It sounds just like a regular Stratocaster, but a really nice one. Messing around with your tones, the difference is very subtle between 7 and 10, but it just backs off some of the bass. But now let's see how the volume roll-off works on our neck pickup. I like how full that sounds. Now we'll roll it down. Definitely thins up just a little bit. Now we'll go again. It almost gets out of phasey after your 5th position. An anemic, really thin sound. I'd say these are a lot of fun. Let's try it with some dirt. pickup is stealing the show. That's got that sauce to it that certain Stratocasters only get. So imagine throwing that in like a Gibson Les Paul just as like a, hey, I want to change how it sounds. Bridge has got some nice bite to it as well. But you definitely want to be going more towards single coil territory on that one. Doesn't quite have as much drive as a humbucker, but it's very close. So there we go, the Trogcaster finally complete and up and running with strings now. What are my final thoughts? Gunstreet, I think you have a very nice pickup here. I especially liked the neck position. Now, I don't think their intention was to put it in a Stratocaster that usually already has single coils. I think this is more so suited towards somebody who wants that single coil sound but already has a guitar that's routed for a humbucker. I would highly suggest checking these out if you're looking for that. They sell them directly on their website. I think my only regret this episode is I'm glad this is up and running. I just wish I could have tried these pickups on a guitar that was maybe set up just a little bit better. I mean, this thing sat without strings for at least 5 years. And I'm not saying it's that bad. Honestly, the quality of this Yamaha Pacifica seems actually very good for the time period. I can see why people were like, oh yeah, get a Yamaha Pacifica, not one of those cheap Stratocaster type things. It feels solid, but also we have a new finish and other cool stuff and a little bit of history behind it. So besides Gunstreet, thank you, Jacob, for sending me this guitar. I'm sure you weren't expecting to see a full video of it getting overhauled 4 years later, but here it is. Oh, and did you notice something during the playing demo? I decided to put my signature on it because the headstock just looked a little bit too plain. This one, it hides, but it's there if you see it just right. So alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed our fun little journey today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.